Hello, my name is Barak. I've been in goat farming for a bit over three years now. I'm from Uganda, but I'm based in Australia. I've been doing goat farming in Uganda. We're here. In other words, I'm in diaspora, and so because I'm passionate about goat farming, I've been quite involved into it, and I just wanted to introduce myself. I'll be sharing my stories, my goat farming journey, and I hope it's going to inspire and help educate some people along the way, because that's the target. I don't understand why in Africa we don't have enough food, whether it's agricultural food, cash crop, or beef production like most other countries in Europe or America or Australia, when we have very fertile soils. So that's a question I've always had in my background. And as such, I've decided to embark myself into goat farming. So today, I'm actually going to take you through a few common mistakes that people make when they're doing goat farming. So number one is planning. So a lot of people, like most Africans, tend not to worry so much about planning, myself included, by the way. And so we tend to say, oh, I will start as long as I have what it takes, and then I will learn in the process. So I think it's best to have a very good plan of what you need to do. For instance, you need to know whether you're going to have goats for dairy or for beef. That's going to determine the kind of breed that you're going to have, and therefore the market, because without that, you're going to struggle down the track once you need to find a market. So if it's for beef, then you need to probably get like the type of goat that is like Savannah or Boers from South Africa, or Kalahari goats. Those goats tend to mature faster, and also they deliver triplets instead of one or two kids, right? If they were looked after. Not all of them, but most of the times. So you also do that. You do good planning to avoid risks and costs that are involved, because it's an investment. You don't want to have any losses. That's number one. Number two, record keeping is very, very important. What I mean by that is you need to know your goats per head. So when I started, for instance, my farm, I started with about 10 goats. Although I needed to grow to about 500 goats. That was my target. And so I was like, oh, they're only 10 goats. I'm sure I will be able to remember them. Trust me, with time you lose focus. Remember, goats produce every 6 months, and they produce up to 2-3 kids, sometimes 4. And so if you don't have good record management for your kidding, when the goats are giving birth, you need to have specific dates, when they're mating, when are you injecting them, what kind of injection are you giving them. You need to know what vaccination you're giving them, because some vaccinations are done regularly every 3 months, some 6 months. So you need to have those things very, very important. And so it helps you with the losses. You need to know which goats are dying, by what's the cause of death. It actually helps you to understand the losses that you're making. So, because remember, we want to do agriculture as a commercial business. So very, very important, right? What I used to do is to have goat tags. So I have tags on the ear, which has the date of birth, by the way, and my name. So if someone sees my goat somewhere roaming around, like the neighbor or somebody, they will easily call me or call my workers and go like, hey, we have your goat over, and they will come and pick it up. So that's why it's important to have the records on goats, right? Number 3 is neglecting goats' health. So animals are very similar to human beings. Like a kid, once a kid is born, they often born in the hospital, well looked after by the loved ones. They go through all the injections month by month. Same thing with kids in goating. If you're losing kids in goats, remember, you have waited for 6 months for a goat, you haven't had any benefit from it, and all of a sudden, boom, the kid is dead. So you really don't make any profit if your kids are dying day by day. That's why it's important from the time when kids are born. You need to make sure they're born in the right place. You need to have maternity ward for the goats to give birth. You need to have the kidding area separate from the adults. Make sure you don't mix them, right? And you need to have like the right treatments, antibiotics, that multivitamin, to give them supplements to make sure your kids are in proper and healthy conditions. Number 4, overcrowding goats. This is one most important thing, and again, it goes back to number one, which is planning, right? See, these two are actually very connected. If you have very good planning of your goats, you actually make sure that your structure is going to accommodate enough goats that you want to have. So for instance, I started with 10 goats, but I wanted to have 500 goats. So I made sure that my goat house was at least about 200 goats. So I actually have like multiple goat houses. That way I have maternity ward. I have for kids where kids sleep. You don't want young kids sleep with adult goats, because that's going to, again, gonna have problems. And you don't want to have about 300 goats in a 50 or 100 size structure. You want to make sure that your goats are very comfortable sleeping. You need to separate males from females, especially at night. They don't want to spend so much together at night. Remember, some of them are pregnant, so you could end up having miscarriage because you've done small mistakes. Some of the small slightest mistakes can cost you a lot, right? Awesome. The last one, or the least but not last, is separate sick animals from non-sick animals. So have like an isolation center again, and the most important one, which is going to be my last one, is the balanced diet. So make sure your animals are very well fed, have enough mineral salt, very important, good, healthy and clean water, and make sure they have supplements. For instance, if you do zero grazing, you need to make sure that you have enough grass for them to feed on. Yeah, those are the most important points that I think that are very common in goat farming. I will be sharing with you guys as much more ideas as I'll come across. I hope you guys will have a few things or so to learn from me. And if you have any comments or any ideas that you want to share with me that is going to be very helpful or educating to me, please feel free to share with me. I appreciate you for now, and I sign up. Thank you.